Hello, hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to this new workshop that I'm going to be sharing with you free today. I am so thrilled to be here. I ran this workshop, How to Plan for Success in 2023, with a group earlier this week, and I was so obsessed, so in love with the presentation, and just felt completely on fire. And I thought, I need to share this with more people. So I want to begin this workshop, as always, by saying I live, work, and create on the lands of the Gubbi Gubbi people here on the Sunshine Coast. And I want to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and future. And I want to pay my respects to the First Nations and the leaders of First Nations where you are. If you know the traditional name, if you know the name of the traditional owners of the lands and seas and skies where you are, please share it in the comments. If you're not sure, if you go to native-lands.ca, you'll be able to, there's a beautiful world map there that's being populated. It's just a really important practice to do. Here in Australia, some of the First Nations say that it makes the lands happy when it hears the name of the traditional custodians. So that's a really important practice to do. Okay, so hi Kelly in Ngunnawal country. I love Ngunnawal country. It's so beautiful. It's one of my soul homes. And Rahima is in Wajak Nyunga. How beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So let's get started. I want to share with you because this is wild, this creation I have made for you. So let's get started. My loves, welcome to this workshop. I am so thrilled and excited to make it happen, even when snafus happen. We're going to be talking today about how to goal plan for a very successful year in business. We're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes people make when planning and setting their goals. We're going to be talking about how to set yourself up for success to make sure that you get the most amount of impact with your actions. And we're going to have a friggin' glorious time as well. I will do Q&A at the end. So if you've got questions, stick around, put them in the comments now. If you would be able to write question in capital letters before you write the question, before on your comment, just so that when I'm scrolling through all the comments, I'll be able to see you all and be able to answer all of you at the end. So I'll answer all the questions at the end. That way I don't get too distracted and, wander off and look at goats in a shiny field somewhere with you, which is awesome and very exciting. But for somebody who, with ADHD, I need to rein myself in just a little bit. So if you've accidentally ended up here and you've gone, who the fuck is this person? And why is she such a minimalist who loves neutrals? Well, let me tell you, I am the most professional, polished, non-offensive, neurotypical Virgo around. That's what I am. Incorrect. I'm not any of those things. I'm not a Virgo. I am a Scorpio. But if you're saying, what in the holy donkey is a Leonie? That is the correct response to have. So I am the winner of Osmopreneur's People Choice Business Coach, Businesses Making a Difference, and the Global Brand Awards. I'm the global best-selling author of the My Brilliant Year goal workbooks. I've created over $13 million while only working 10 hours a week. And no, I don't have a very large team. I have a very small team. I have one part-time assistant. And I'm the founder of the Brilliant Biz and Life Academy, where I take all of the programs I teach about business and marketing and money and writing and selling e-courses and books and all that good stuff. And I put it into a highly accessible place where you can get all those programs and monthly group coaching with me for under $100 a year. So it's kind of a revolutionary little idea I have, and I freaking love it. We have over 1,600 members already. It's just delicious, really. I am also the former editor of business.gov.au. I used to be a public servant, and we won a United Nations Award for services to small business while I worked there. I also did a lot of ridiculous things in my time there, including having hugging competitions, and I hugged 300 people in one day. This was clearly pre-COVID days. I am also part pirate, so I do swear like a motherfucker. If that is offensive to you, baby doll, you are in the wrong place. There are so many other people out there who can talk to you about goals and other things, but do it in a way that makes you think, wow, they have really great hair and they definitely brushed it this morning, which I did not. I am also proudly neurodivergent. I have autism and ADHD, and I am very lucky to live in this brain. And I live on the Sunshine Coast in Australia with my Zeus of a husband and our 2 mermaid daughters. I don't really share much about them publicly anymore, but when they were babies, I did. I was kind of a mummy blogger, and oh God. My eldest daughter just started high school, and she is doing digital tech, and they were doing a cybersecurity unit, and the teacher got them to Google their own names to see what they discovered. This was yesterday, and so she came home and she told me this, and I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, baby girl, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And she's like, Mom, it was just pages and pages and pages, and nobody else really had any records, or if like it was their name, it was somebody else, and I was just all over the place. I'm like, I am so sorry. And she's like, yeah, but it stopped in like 2012, and it was just like baby pictures. And so there's some blog posts about like what I used to do in my sleep when I was a baby, and I was like, oh God, I am so sorry. And the sweet thing said, oh, it's okay, Mum. I know it's been part of your job, and I know that you don't really do it anymore, and you always ask me for permission before sharing things. I said, whew, thank goodness. So that's why I haven't shared publicly about my family in a long time. They are the raddest people, and they are also allowed to have their own privacy. And I do need to do a further scrub of stuff I have shared previously about my kids. Lessons learned. Most of all, in all of this, when I cark it, when I am in the ground, when flowers are like, yum, 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 this nutrient is fantastic. I want on my gravestone to just be like, she was a lot. I want it to be like, wow, that was a human in full flight. There was a lot happening there. And it's true, there was. So one thing I'm best known for, I think, is the Goal Getter workbooks. I changed the name of them. So they've been like Create My Goddess Year, Shining Year, Amazing Year. It's back to My Brilliant Year, called Goal Getter for a while, because I change my mind all the time. But regardless, the sentiment is the same. They're Leonie Dawson's goal workbooks. And I created them when I was pregnant and sharing about that pregnancy online with my first daughter. And I knew that like the year ahead for me was going to be really challenging. And I knew that it wasn't going to be like a Huggies ad. I knew that my life was going to change, and I knew that it was going to call on every part of me, and that I needed something to be able to hold on to. So I wanted to create goals for myself for the coming year, and I wanted them to encapsulate like every area of my life, not just business and money, but also my relationship with my husband, the family I wanted to create with him, the adventures I wanted to have, the soul stuff I wanted to develop, and the creativity I wanted to make for me as well. And I knew that doing that would kind of give me like a mast to lash myself to when the waves of life got really big. And when I looked around at the market, this is like 2009. So in the olden days of the internet, there was nothing out there. It's now having like a hot moment in the sun. There's a shit ton of planners. But when I was creating, when I was looking, there was really nothing. It was very masculine. It was very black and white. And it was very careers focused and money focused, where I love having those goals, but I want goals for every area of my life. And I wanted something that was more feminine and holistic and creative. And I wanted rainbows and fucking unicorns, you know? So as a gift to myself while I was pregnant, I spent about 3 days hand making this beautiful little goals workbook for myself. And when I finished it, I was like, that is so freaking cute, Leonie. You should just like pop that online and see if anybody likes it. And this is what it looked like. It's so adorable, so handmade. It was all hand painted. And now I do it more with, like, I digitally illustrate in Procreate on my iPad, but I really love the sweetness of this and the colors in it. And so I shared it with the world, and I thought, oh my God, it'd be so cute if like 10 people bought it and we could do our workbooks together. And it just went gangbusters. And instead, 1,000 people bought it in the first week. In the first couple of weeks. And then every year since then, I've shared it with the world, and people have absolutely adored it. And I think that the thing is, like, they get such big results from using it that they can't imagine being without it. And so year after year after year, people buy their workbooks, and they also share them with their family and their friends as well to get them creating it. For me, even if nobody else uses workbooks, I don't care, because they've made such a big difference in my life. But it wasn't just me. It ended up being over 500,000 people have bought the workbooks, or we've also set up a program where we donate the goals workbooks to nonprofit organizations to be able to use with their clients. So we have people who are teen mums in America. We have First Nations here in Australia. We've got communities that have been affected by severe flooding. We have cancer survivors in the UK who use the workbooks. We are so thrilled to be able to offer this to nonprofits. And if you know of any nonprofits who may be able to use this workbook with their clients, please reach out to us, and we'll get you to fill out the form. And then you've got unlimited access to the workbooks for your clients. So I think we're over 180 countries now have people in them have been using these workbooks, and it just thrills me. It really does. So they really guide you through the process of setting goals and staying in touch with them, because it's really freaking important, goals. And when we look at the research, about 80% of people don't even think of goals. 16% will think of goals but don't write them down. 3% think of their goals and write them down, but they never look at them again. And just 1% write their goals down, regularly review them, and they are among the highest achievers. And it's not just highest achievements in like the Dick Rocket kind of ways, like Jeff Bezos kind of ways. It's about being a high achiever in every area of your life, in your relationships, and and volunteering and spending time in the things that really, really matter for you and for your community. So being without goals is really like, imagine that you have turned up, like you have arrived in a train to a place, and you're like, right, onwards. And you get into a taxi and you're like, driver, drive. And the driver's like, where to, bitch? And you're like, doesn't matter, just keep going. Just drive. And then being shocked or surprised or disappointed when you rock up to fuck knows where. So it would be more useful for you to spend time going, actually, the place I want to get to is here. let's get there. And then the taxi driver and then your life can be like, oh, let's move in that direction, shall we? So I love this quote by Lawrence J. Peter, who happens to look like he's like Pierce Brosnan's brother or some shit. But he says, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. So let's take the time to actually like, okay, where the fuck we want to go, right? And I always think of goals as being like a treasure map. It's helping you to hold the course when the winds of life blow you about. I promise you, life is going to happen, and life is going to happen at great pace. And there's nothing that you can do to like manifest or only attract good things, because that's actually not how life works. Like, it's so much bigger and broader than that. And it is not your fault on any level if bad shit happens, because we are humans and we are going to experience loss and pain and disappointment through our lives. And that's okay. It's a part of the journey and it's a part of the ride. And my whole thing is like, how can I make sure I don't become jaded by all of this? How can I continue to turn up even when things feel wild and scattered and bananas, and continue to turn up and shine my light bright in the world and do the thing that most matters to me, because that's what brings our lives meaning, and that's what helps to change the world as well. So let's talk about how to set yourself up for success, to make sure that you achieve your goals as well and as fast as you can this year. So people forget to do this, but you really do need to take the time to review the past year. If you've got my goals workbooks, go through the review process in that. If you don't, that's fine. Either get yourself a copy or take some time to journal. What worked for you over the last year? What didn't? What sucked? And what needs to be celebrated? What lessons can you take with you? And how do you want this next year to be different from the last? And so this absolute fucking dead set hottie of a chick, she always says this super fucking wise thing. And I'm like, baby doll, how did you get so wise? I'm just kidding. It's me. It's me, babes. It's me. Surprise. But I always like to think about it like this. When you take the time to review, when you take the time to journal, when you take the time to write your story, it's letting the threads of your life weave themselves into this beautiful tapestry. So that instead of things just feeling tangled and cluttered and nuts, it all starts to weave itself and you begin to find meaning in your story. Another way of saying it is like mining through the shit to find the gold. Shit is going to happen. Hopefully it's got a cute face like this and isn't a particular stinker. But if it is, it's fine. We can work with that. And we can still choose to find the gold and the wisdom and the meaning in that and allow it to make us bigger instead of smaller and more broken. Because it can do that. It can do that. So really, when you do end up setting these goals, it's really important for you to break it down. So make sure you use the Magic Mountain worksheets in the Goal Getter Planner. That was what they were called last year. If you've got them, use them. Otherwise, we've just got out the new edition called My Brilliant Year. They're also 10 out of 10 adorable. If you Google Leonie Dawson workbooks, you will find it. Go to leoniedawson.com/workbooks to be able to find these fucking things. They're everywhere. So you can use the Magic Mountain worksheets there and make sure that you take the time to break your big goals into smaller and smaller tasks. And if you find that you still can't get momentum, break it into like 10-minute, very easily accomplished tasks. When I get stuck on something, I always write down just like the smallest micro step I could take to make a little bit of momentum in that direction. So, for example, if I need to write a whole big plan or document about some shit, I don't even know how to start, what I'll do, like the first step is open a Google document, write the name in the title, just save it. It's just like, Nice. A little bit of progress. And then the next little micro step would be, let's just write a couple of bullet points that we can think of off the top of our heads and see what happens. And then once that's done, it's like, oh, well, I got a few more ideas in there. So you can start writing a little bit more or dot pointing even more and just continuing to flesh it out over and over. When you've got those big tasks, break it down into something that is so much more easily accessible. Brian Tracy, who shockingly is a straight white dude, he says a goal without a plan is only a dream. So make sure that you're writing plans and breaking it down when you do have those goals, and start scheduling it into your calendar to help you get there faster and in a more sane way. Another thing that you can do that will be enormously useful is to get accountable. So share those goals with an accountability partner or a mastermind, and you connect regularly in person or online to check in on each other's goals. This doesn't need to be a paid thing. This can be just a casual thing. If you're in the Leonie Dawson's Goal Workbooks group, have a look in there, ask people, hey, does anyone want an accountability partner? I'm working on this, and these are the ways that I would like to turn up. So for example, you may meet for 20 minutes at the start of every week on Zoom and just talk through your list. Or you might meet once a month and go, this is what I'm going to do for the month ahead. And you can play around and see what format works for you. For me, I've had lots of different kinds of masterminds over the years. Sometimes it's been online when I've been, living in regional places, or I've got small kids and I can't leave the fucking house. At the moment, I have a beautiful in-person mastermind that kind of formed very organically. I met another person who lives close by. And she had a business, an online business. And I was like, hey, we know a bunch of cool friends between us who do different cool things. So why don't we just invite them all to dinner? And we went to dinner one night and we were all just in love with each other. And we're like, oh, we need to do this even more. So now we meet once a month for about 4 hours. And that's usually between school pickup and school drop off. And we wisdom share, we goal plan for each other, we get out massive pieces of paper and write out plans, we challenge each other, and sometimes we just do things more hippie shit. So we've done a women's circle together, we have done a fire burning ceremony to release old mindset blocks and things like that. So I'm very grateful to these beautiful humans. There's 7 of us in this group, but we never managed to get a photo of all of us together. It's always so cute. Always so fucking cute. If you need support, again, facebook.com/groups/shining year. We've got 16,000 other people who use the workbooks in there to help them plan out their lives and their business for the year ahead. So Jim Rohn always talks about this fact. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most of your time with. So make them good ones. So I want you to spend some time now, just write down really quickly, who's the people that you spend the most amount of time with? And are they helping you elevate, or are they bringing you down? Now, I'm not saying that you need to remove everybody who's chill from your life. No, my husband is a way more chilled out personality than me. That's totally groovy and totally fine. And it actually is a beautiful balance for me. However, when it comes to me reaching my goals, I need to make sure that I am actively surrounding myself regularly with really cool, motivated humans. And that can be online or in person. And I need to consciously create. It's not like an accident that happens. No, it's something that I need to curate for myself, choose it, create it for myself over and over and over again. I have never been invited into a mastermind. I've always invited myself or created it myself. I'm just that's what I want, so that's what I'm going to make happen. A really big part of that puzzle, remember when we looked at that statistic, was the 1% of high achievers. They were thinking about their goals and they were writing them down and they were regularly reviewing them. So I want you to right now set a recurring calendar item at the start of every single month. Do a monthly review. If you've got the Goal Getter workbooks, the My Brilliant Year workbooks, do the monthly review in them. Otherwise, just do it in your journal and you say what worked, what didn't, what did I accomplish, and what do I want to do next month? And give yourself the time to like review what goals you want to create for the next year, you know? I love this quote because it really, really lets you know how important it is to stay connected with your goals. Millionaires look at their goals once a day. Billionaires look at their goals twice a day. So what would it look like for you to have in front of you your goals and dreams all the time? I have right in front of me a bunch of my goals, and I even have a little card that has the goals, this year's goals of my mastermind on them as well, including my own goals, so that everybody knows exactly where I'm at and I'm looking at all the time as well. So keep your goals close. Take your goal workbook with you everywhere. Make it dog-eared and war-torn. Like, this is a working document. This is not something to keep pristine. This is something for you to fuck up. There should be tabs. There should be fold marks. There should be coffee marks. There should be like scratches and scrollings and a million different colors. It's not something to keep aesthetic. It is not aesthetic. It is a working document to help you get your goals. And make sure that you keep it even closer. So with your top 3 goals that you're working on right now, put them as a note in your phone, as a post-it note above your desk. Make them into wallpapers for your phone or for your iPad or for your computer. Keep them front of mind. So every single day you're reminded, oh, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to create. That's what I want to make happen. So a lot of people ask me, Leonie, you're like a goals goddess. And yes, I am a goals goddess. Thank you for recognizing that. But how big should your goals be? And I want you to know there's no right answer. So if a goal is too big for you currently, it may feel overwhelming, or it may feel really exciting and motivating. If a goal's too small, it may feel boring, or it might feel achievable. The right answer is really deeply personal to you. So test what motivates you and test it by using like a short-term goal. Okay, for this week, I want to do this or this, and make, this week try the too big goal. Next week, try the too small goal. Now, the answer is not, did I accomplish it? But the answer is, how far did I get? Because if you even fail at the too big front, you still may have gotten further than you did if you accomplished a too small goal. So test what motivates with you, and the answer may vary over the years. So I tend to verge more on the too big side. Currently, though, it makes more sense for me, just with where my energy is and where my life is at, is that too big can feel too much for me. So I make it, it's never going to be too small, because that is boring as fuck to me, but that's just me. So it's always going to be like, on the growth side, but not like, what the fuck? So, but I will absolutely choose a what the fuck goal at another point. Les Brown is a brilliant motivational speaker, but one thing he is not is an astronaut, because he's, well, you'll know for this quote, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And that is a brilliant sentiment, and I'm like, yes, but that's not how space works, because the moon's first, the stars are after. So sure, why not? Let's shoot for the stars, and if we just end up on the moon is great as well. So the sentiment is great. Good growth mindset. Shoot for the moon or stars, and wherever you land up, also great. Now let's talk about some goal setting mistakes to avoid. So some goals that suck. The ones that are too vague, they really suck. They are not helpful. The other goals that suck are like, it's hard to know how to accomplish the goal. You don't know when to accomplish the goal, and you don't know if you've accomplished the goal. So that's where like the whole SMART goals thing that you've probably heard of before comes in really handy. Making goals that are specific, measurable, attainable. I'll probably just go SMART instead of SMART, because I don't care whether it's attainable or not. Relevant and time-bound. They're all really great goals to have. So instead of saying, I want to get fitter, how are you going to know when you're actually fitter? And how do you know if you've gotten there? A more useful goal is, I want to do Pilates, 3 Pilates workouts a week for the next 30 days. And then you can recommit again the next 30 days. If you say, I want to earn more money, I want to earn $100,000 by December 30. Also a great goal. More goals that suck would be, you think that you should do the goal, but it's not really your soul's calling. I've done this a lot of times, and that's okay. So just be prepared to delete shit when you realize, like, oh, that's actually not really what I want to do. You may also find that you set a goal, but it works against another of your goals or values. So for example, if I set a goal that I wanted to go to 10 conferences this year and be a speaker, it's a great goal. However, that doesn't take into account the fact that I'm autistic and need a large amount of time to recover after social events. And it doesn't take into account that one of my highest values is being a very present mum with my kids, and that my particular little family setup means that I need to be around a lot for everything to work beautifully. And that's actually really cool for me, because they're my priority. And it's why I only work 10 hours a week, because my little family is my very first priority above all else. My business has to work around me and it has to work around my family, not the other way around. So when I'm setting goals, I need to make sure that they're still going to work with my goals, my values, my lifestyle as well. And another thing that I see, particularly women, femmes, and people who are caregiving roles, is to not give yourself the support that you need in order to be able to achieve it. And really looking at, like, what do I need to let go of in order to create the time for this and create the energy? So I remember going to dinner with a really beautiful friend who's just so amazing and so talented and powerful in so many ways. She's homeschooling her 2 kids with who have additional needs, and she's also got a business that she works on, and she's so talented. And she was saying to me, like, I'm just so upset with myself for, my business not being where I want it to be right now. And when we had a look at her life and how things were set up, like, she also had 0 time in her day. She was literally running from one thing to the next, and was doing so much caretaking and having no time out for herself at all to be able to work on her business. And I'm like, babes, you're judging yourself for not being a racehorse, but you're a racehorse that's also being a draft horse that's got this huge wooden cart behind it with the weight of the world on it. Like, of course, you're not going to be able to run a race when things are that heavy. And so we worked out a plan for her to start taking even small chunks of time away from her kids. And that's, you don't have to be able to pay for a nanny. You don't have to do that in order to be able to start crafting time for yourself. You can be really creative. So that person ended up forming kind of like a little homeschool co-op with another friend who had a business. So their kids get to hang out with each other, and one of them either looks after the kids or they pool their money together and hire a nanny for the day. Super smart, super sane, and really helps them to be able to achieve their goals that much faster. So let's talk about what to do when your goals aren't coming true, because they won't. There will be parts where shit is not moving and you're thinking, what the fuck, man? Why isn't the needle not moving? Why am I not making progress? So I've seen this so many times, and I also see it so many times in me. I want you to know, like, as somebody who's a high achiever, somebody who's achieved a lot of external success, there's a lot of goals that I get really stuck with or don't accomplish, and that is okay. What you need to get into the habit of is knowing that the goal is going to grow you. So there is going to be personal stuff, there is going to be mindset stuff, there is going to be inner work that you need to do in order to get there. So you can face the fear, feel uncomfortable, and keep going anyway. I really love a story about Richard Branson. And when he first started the Virgin Airline company, he didn't really have any money to make it happen. And basically what was happening is that by the time the flights all finished for the day, they'd be repossessed because he couldn't make payments on them. And so overnight, he would have to work out how to fund getting these fucking planes back so they could fly again the next day. And this didn't just happen once. It was a daily thing for months, if not years. And you think, what the fuck? How does somebody like every day work out how to buy all their planes back so they can fly again the next day? Because they're at the point of bankruptcy constantly. And he said, you have to think of yourself as a person who is a bigger person than the problem that you have. So, for example, if you are a level 3 person and buying back planes is a level 8 problem, you're going to think, that is beyond me. I can't work that shit out. But if you grow and develop skills and develop mindset and develop experience, you are going to become a level 9 person. And a level 9 person looks at a level 8 problem and goes, it's fine. I got this. I got this. And that, when I heard this, it really inspired me and something very much clicked. Like, I wasn't going to let money problems be a bigger problem than me anymore. I wasn't going to let business problems be a bigger problem than me anymore. I was going to grow to the next level. Even if I wasn't there yet, I was going to grow until I was past it and then it was smaller than me. And I remember at one point, this was back 10 years ago or so, we bought a beautiful house, just absolutely stunning, in Kuranda, which is up in far north Queensland and in the rainforest. And it was, so much more expensive than we'd ever purchased a property for before. And we really had to scrape out all of our savings account. Really, we were pushing the edge of our earning potential in order to be able to buy this property. But we did it, and it was such a relief. Oh my God, thank fuck we did it. We managed to just pull this off. It was down to the dollar, And then the day after that property settled, I got a call from our lawyers, and the lawyer said, I am very sorry, but we made a mistake with your stamp duty and you owe $14,000 to the tax office. And I said, okay, when's that due? And she said, today. It's due today. And I said, okay. And this lady was obviously prepared for me to just shout at her shit, but that's not how I do life anyway. And it's also, no, thank you. So I called my bank, explained the problem, and we just started talking through solutions. And we're like, okay, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. And I remember at one point, the person from the bank was like, you're very calm for somebody who this situation has happened to, because it's happened to a lot of other people when they make mistakes with stamp duty. Not this lawyer, but in a lot of housing sales that go through in Australia, it's often a mistake, and people freak the fuck out when it happens, and they are panicking on the phone, they're yelling, they're very aggressive, they're whatever. But I explained to them, no, $14,000 is a level 3 problem, and I am a level 5 person. I am going to work out how to get beyond this. And I did. And it was just it was just so chill, so calm. Let's just work out how to do this. So every time I reach a problem now, I remind myself of that thing that happened 10 years ago. I got this. I got this. And you do too. Set a goal so big that you can't achieve it until you grow into the person who can. Here's the thing, like the thing I love most about all the things that I've done over the years has been the fact that I have been able to create such big miracles. I feel like bigger and braver and a bolder version of myself. It's, the joy of doing what I've done is not the money. I appreciate abundance and I'm grateful for it. But the feeling of being powerful in myself, powerful enough to be able to create good change in my life, my family's life, my community's life, that feels scrumptious to me. And I love the ways that it has made me be even better in the world. You're going to find that you need to do the inner work as well when it comes to your goals. It's not just about doing the practical actions and ticking shit off your to-do list. You're going to find that there are some blocks that come up. And this is where the inner work stuff is. And you're going to find a toolkit that works for you. But things like EFT or tapping, you can watch billions of free videos on YouTube, therapy, education. So I'm constantly consuming books. I read up to 200, 400 books a year, constantly doing new courses and surrounding myself with people who know more than me. I don't want to be the biggest fish in a small pond. I want to be the small fish in a big pond going, oh my God, look at what's possible. That's how much I could grow into. Journaling can be enormously powerful, and doing energy clearing like kinesiology. I always use Kerry Rowett here in Australia. She does telehealth stuff, not telehealth, kinesiology. But all of those things are a big part of that puzzle as well. Now, you are going to fuck up. That's the nature of things. You're going to fall off the wagon. And I'm going to have a big sip of water. Stay hydrated, my loves. This is a time for you to have some water too. So, what should you do when you fall off the wagon? The first bit of advice comes from my farmer dad. So, you may not know, or you may know, but I grew up on a cattle property. I come from a farming family, and I started riding horses when I was 2, and I started mustering cattle when I was 4. Mustering cattle, I don't know if you use the same word in Australia. Rounded up the cattle on the horses. And I fell off the horse a lot. And every single time I would fall off the horse, I'd be sobbing on the ground. And my dad would zoom up on his motorbike, because we always mustered with horses and motorbikes. He would zoom up, make sure nothing was broken. He'd dust me off. He'd give me a kiss. And then he'd put me back on the horse's back. And, I would be sobbing and saying, no, I don't want to go back on there. Like, I don't know. And he's like, no, you get straight back on the horse's back, because otherwise I don't want you to get afraid of horses. Because if you stay off the horse, you're going to get afraid of the next time you're on there. But if you get straight back on, you're good to go. And you stay in love with being on horses. I don't think he said, like, you'll stay in love with being on horses. My dad mostly talks in grunts, but that's the sole message that I heard. I never got afraid of horses. I always loved being on a horse's back. So you're going to fall off sometimes, my loves, and you're going to dust yourself off, check that nothing's broken. And even when it's scary, you're going to put yourself out there. So even now, like, I'm kind of in a regrowth phase in my business and putting myself out there a lot more again after kind of being a chill fuck for a few years. It was great. But I'm ready to do more again. And so I'm going to have to get back on the horse, even when sometimes I fall off. Like this morning when I could not work out how the fuck to get StreamYard to work. But we got there in the end, and the horse he galloped on. So I want you to know, like, forgive yourself. When you make mistakes, when you fuck up, when you fall behind, it's fine. You are human. Welcome to the club. Every single human on this planet has made mistakes and fallen behind. It is part of the process. I promise you, like, I have had, quite a bit of success in my life, but there is a long to-do list behind me of shit I haven't done and goals that I haven't made happen. That's okay, because it's the most important thing is that I'm in the practice of expanding myself anyway and finding and creating and crafting for myself the things that I really want. And it's okay for me to be human. It's okay for me to be human. I watched this TikTok once and it was so relatable, and maybe maybe some of you will find this really funny as well. But she said, my therapist has let me know that it's actually impossible to be perfect. So that was a real shock to me and very hard to hear, but I'm accepting it. I'm accepting and forgiving myself for not being perfect, which means I'm that one step closer to being perfect. So relatable. So relatable. And when shit sucks and you're falling behind, get curious. Be a curious little cat. What's one thing that you can do this week for a quick win? Because quick wins give you a beautiful little dopamine hit and it'll just make you feel that much more excited. And you're like, oh, I'm feeling myself. I love the feeling of getting shit done. Also, ask yourself, how can you reward yourself when you finish a goal? Like, I live on bubble tea rewards. Even got it on my beautiful minimalist neutral backdrop. But some people buy themselves like shoes with heels and stuff, or bags. I mostly deal in bubble tea and graphic novels, but whatever works for you, you do that. Ask yourself as well, like, what would you feel like an enormous weight would be off your shoulders? So, for example, I've got a project that I've had sitting in my fucking tray for maybe 6 months. It was about a week in the life of Leonie, and I documented my whole week as I did it. And then I got 80% there, and then I just didn't do the final design tweaks of it. And I painted up all the pages and all that shit. It's super cute and super handmade. And it also has this most ridiculous part where I tried CBD oil for the first time that has THC. It's medically prescribed for me. Thank you very much. Anyway, I tried it for the first time and I didn't think it would work, and then it worked. And so I screenshot all the text messages from that night and put it in a week in the life of Leonie, and he's fucking gold. He's fucking gold. And I really should put it out there, but it feels like this huge, over me. It's just that's a project you didn't complete, Leonie. I was like, oh, fuck off. I've been busy with other things. So I think if I just get it done, I'll probably feel amazing. Ask yourself as well, does a goal need adjusting or deleting? And be completely forgiving of yourself and accepting of yourself when that's the case. And ask yourself, what's going to help you achieve your goal right now? What support do you need to give yourself? What structure do you need to give yourself? What habit would help you get there? And then do it. Lastly, I want you to know that your goals are sacred assignments. As a long-term hippie, I genuinely believe that your dreams are not these selfish ideas for yourself. I believe that they come from the angels, from Great Spirit, from God. And they give us these dreams, these ideas, these businesses in order for us to bring change into the world in some small way. In some way they're of service and they help others. And so the angels give you these ideas because the world needs this. The world needs you. It needs your story. It needs you to step up and shine your light bright in the world. It needs you to become a powerful custodian of money. Because the fact of the matter is that for so long, women, Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQIA plus community, we have been prevented from holding power and money and property. And instead, the people that have had access to that is all the straight, white, cishet dudes named like Steve and Kevin. And let me tell you, they actually haven't had a great job of it. They haven't helped the planet. They haven't helped their communities. They haven't made things more equitable for all of us. And they've had their turn at having a go. They've been a bit shit at it. They need to take a back seat. And we, women and other underrepresented groups, need to step up instead and start sharing our stories and our wisdom and becoming powerful custodians of money and abundance as well. Because we redirect the money to the places that it needs to go. We, statistically, it shows that women are the ones who, when they have abundance, they turn it into supporting their families, their communities, and the world. They are much more highly likely to be philanthropists and to be able to make a massive change in the world. So for me, I know that when I created Abundance with my company, we were able to do just such amazing things. So we, last year we spent $25,000, no, more than that. I think it was $30,000 on, and that went towards helping a bunch of organizations here in Australia buy land for wildlife conservation, because I think that's a really important part of the climate crisis puzzle. We've also done really cool things like built a library in Vietnam through Room to Read. We partnered with some business friends because we were bored, and we built a 6-room school in Ghana in West Africa through Pencils of Promise. We've just done so many wonderful, wonderful things with that abundance. And that's what women do when we become powerful creators. It's a blessing not just for us, but for the rest of the world. So I love you. Your goals are here for you, and they're here for the planet. And I am happy to answer any questions that you like. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here on this planet right now, doing the work that you're doing. It's needed. Susie says, I love that tombstone, stealing that. Get it. I want all of us to be a little too much. Okay. Teresa, my beautiful friend Teresa says, I need to do this. Break it down to micro goals. I have a lot going on and get easily overwhelmed, and then nothing happens. Yeah, I get overwhelmed all the time. So breaking it down into just like the very least is enormously useful. Just going to turn down I've got a new ring light, and it's very exciting, but as an autistic person, it's a lot of sensory information. So I'm going to turn that fucking thing down. No, I'm not going to do that. That's too much. Okay. Teresa also asked, can you talk a little about prioritizing goals? I've got a lot going on personally, and then I never get to my business stuff. So firstly, there's always seasons. The business stuff is a really important thing for you. So you need to still remember, like, it's something that brings you abundance. It brings you sanity. It brings you some small level of control over an uncontrollable universe. So can you give yourself the gift of, 1 hour or 2 hours a day where it's just for you and just for your sacred dreams? And maybe work on, pick one project that you can do really quickly and really easily, like knock over in a week, and get yourself some of that dopamine hit that comes with finishing a goal off. Bethany says, the new background looks great. Thank you, my love. Thank you. So lovely and neutral. Oh, Sky says, Leonie, you're awesome. I'm so grateful I found you. I'm so grateful I found you. Thank you for being here with me. Sophia says, will a recording be available after the call? Yes, if I have worked out how to record this. And yes, I'll send it out to the list, but it should also remain on YouTube and Facebook as well. But let's find out, because this is my first time. Danielle says, this is exactly what I need to hear. Thank you. My darling mate Tash, who is in my mastermind and one of my accountability buddies, says, if you've made a mistake, you're in good company, because 100% of the people you admire have made mistakes too. Oh, yeah. It's like I always cheer people up when they feel like they've made a mistake. I once spent $500,000 on printing a bunch of products, and one of them was a diary, and the diary was missing January 1st. Jesus fucking Christ. Also, I developed a raging addiction to Star Stables, which is a pretty pony game where you get to ride around on horseback and collect little tokens, do horsey tasks and stuff like that. It's very big between girls and Leonie, obviously. So I got very obsessed by it, and I kept on wanting to like take my horse up to the next level of experience and stuff. And so I was doing that instead of getting my dopamine hits from my business. And it cost me about $100,000 in lost revenue. Yeah. So if you've made a mistake that is not at those sizes, you're fine. You're totally fine. And even if you have, also totally fine. Richard Branson probably made like $1 billion mistakes. Okay. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you've got questions, just pop them in comments. I can see them all from YouTube and Facebook groups. So that'll be cool. All right, let me have some more hydration. What if I resist habits? Do the 4 Tendencies quiz by Gretchen Rubin. You may find yourself that you're a rebel. You may also find that you are neurodivergent. So somebody who's ADHD does not like habits. So for me, I am not a habits queen. But there's little hacks that I do in order to make them happen. Now, in terms of the 4 tendencies, I'm an obliger. So it works better if other people know what I should be doing, because then I feel obliged to do them. And then I also have to build in structure around my life to make it happen as well. So I'd recommend starting off with the 4 tendencies quiz. And then if you are ADHD, do let me know, or if you get that diagnosis at some point. Okay. Deborah says, welcome back to social media. Thank you so much. If people are going, Leonie, what the fuck? Why are you on social media again? I did just do a big blog post about it and overshared in too much detail. As I do with all areas of life, as my child has discovered. Okay. Now, Facebook user says, Leonie! And in return, I say, Facebook user! I'm so thrilled to see you here too. Heidi says, thanks, Leonie. Castella told me to follow you. This was a really useful session right now. Big thanks. Oh, I'm so grateful. I love Cass. She is part of a local mastermind. And we love Cass so much. The running joke in our mastermind is that everyone is above average height. And I am one of the short ones, and usually I'm the tall one. So I'm over 5'10", but like Tash Corbin, Amanda Rootsy, they're like 6'2", 6'1". And Cass just happens to be the shorter one in the group. And so we constantly making reference to like, oh, how do the small people feel about that? And she's like, I am not small. I am average height. You just don't happen to be Amazon goddesses. I love her so much. She's the cutest. Andrea says, where can I find the link to Richard Branson's story? Good question. Don't know. I learned about it like 10 years ago and I have no fucking clue where it is now. Okay. Jenica says, what's your Myers-Briggs type? I am an INFP, but I haven't done it for about 15 years. And apparently it can change over time. So Alyssa Joy says, the micro goals still seem to be too big when I make them. Even micro goals need to be turned into nano goals. Oh, completely. Like you got to think of yourself as a sloth, just like open a document and that's enough. That's big. Okay, Suzanne says, I'm struggling with coming up with goals because I like too many different things and my interests shift from week to week. What do you recommend in choosing a path? Just choose a goal for this week then. You don't have to have goals for the year. If goals for the year don't work for you, don't do them. If goals for today work, great, do that. If you've got kind of an overview, you can do that. You can still do lots of different things. That's why in the goals workbooks, like it's in every area of your life. And there's, like a list of like 100 things that you want to do in your life or your business for the coming year so that you can just go, oh, yeah, I could try that. I think I can try that. Just give it a go. And it's absolutely okay if you don't achieve them. Totally fine. But it's good fun. It's good fun to do. What books would you recommend reading, please, Leonie? I think I would love to be a bibliotherapist in a different life because I love recommending books. So it depends on, tell me more, Andrea, about what you love and what you're struggling with right now, so I can tell you exactly what kinds of books that you should use. In terms of what I'm reading right now that I love, my mastermind group is doing a group study of Amanda Frances, Rich as Fuck. I recommend not getting it as a book, though. I recommend getting it as an audiobook because she has a hilarious Valley Girl accent. And I try and practice my you're worth more kind of vocal fry. It's great. Heads up though, unfortunately, I can't recommend her courses for various reasons, but the book is fucking phenomenal. And I really wish her courses were as good as that. Okay, other things I'm reading. I am currently obsessed with Catherine May, and she wrote The Electricity of Every Living Thing, and she also wrote Wintering, and they're both beautiful. She's got another book due out in a few months, I think. I've already pre-ordered. Absolutely beautiful. Raina Wynn, who is an English author, and she writes about these powerful experiences walking, like doing long, long walks. I'm not somebody who does long, long walks. I'm somebody who reads long books about long walks. Fucking love myself. Okay. Do you have any tips for navigating business and goal setting while learning to manage a life-altering chronic illness diagnosis? I've been battling some severe illness over the last couple of years. I'm trying so hard to keep my business alive because it literally gives me life and I can't let it slide. I get it. I completely get it. I have gone through hyperemesis gravidarum, which is a chronic illness when pregnant. And I still have different things going on, including a syndrome, which means my bones dislocate quite easily. Fun. Only hot girls have chronic ulcers. Nice. Okay, so first and foremost, knowing that there's a bit of an adjustment period in the diagnoses, and learning how to manage it, and also working out what works for you. So for me, 10 hours a week is good. It's not all going to be done in one block. If I sit down for too long, then I'm likely going to do some displacement in my back. So working that time out, and also knowing for me that I'm actually not going to be super consistent because of autism and ADHD as well. It means that I'm going to have really high productivity times, and then I am going to be in bed doing not much for a while. So it's like allowing yourself to harness those times and really giving yourself a lot of slack and a lot of love, but continuing to do it because it's fucking great. Like for me, business is so healing and potent, and I really do use it as therapy for dealing with other things when life is difficult. And that's where the Star Stables issue, because I was using Star Stables to deal with a very stressful situation with my kids' previous school, instead of using my business for dopamine. Okay. Oh, Sandy's got a good question. Sometimes I get excited about a goal, and then once I've mastered a part of it, I get bored. Is it because the goal's too small or just the wrong goal? How can you tell a difference? No, that's just it's not that your goal is wrong. That's just a normal part of creating and making goals come true. So there's what I've noticed about the energy of ideas is that there's like a lot of energy that comes through at the beginning of a project, the beginning of the idea, and you're like, yes. And then the energy fucking wanes. And then you're just like, I fucking hate every part of this and I want to do something else. Let me find another idea. And then the last like 20% is like hell on earth. It's like giving birth. You're just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is so hard. I don't want to do this anymore because you're out of dopamine. You are out of excitement. You just want this fucking thing done. But what you need to know is that you get an enormous big dopamine hit, a bit of a woo energy hit when you finish that goal again. And that gives you even more energy for the next goal. So know that shit gets hard, but we can do hard things, as Glennon Doyle would say, and we persevere anyway, and we get good at making things happen and discovering that there's a real joy in completing things. When you complete a cycle, you get another big energy burst. Just like that fucking week in the life project that I did and didn't release it. It's still sucking energy from me because I haven't finished it and just put it out in the fucking world. And when I've done that, I'll get another little woo. Let's go, girls. Let's make stuff happen. Okay. Bethany Loveday says, my issue is I keep thinking I need to change what I do because it's too alternative, but I'm so passionate about it. I get stuck in this spiral of thinking and then the goals don't get done. I don't think anything's ever too alternative. It sounds like the issue is the way that you're marketing it. That's a big issue. So you need to get better at marketing and you need to get better at copywriting. If you're in my academy, you need to use the Sales Star program in there. That will help you communicate it that much more clearly. Ink Girl says, hugest blessing to stumble upon your bright face today. Oh, thank you. Look, me and my best friend, the sun. Oh. Right? No, that way. There we go. Tammy says, love the new minimalist background. So you. Thank you so much. I'm just like every other basic bitch out there. Okay. Yes, husband? You home? You good? Husband's just come home from the dentist. Sky says, thank you for showing your mistakes. It's a biggie for me. The dread to fuck up, get it wrong. It's mobilizing. I'm ready to shake it. Look, I'll tell you all my mistakes so that you feel so much better. I do have something coming out today, actually, a long podcast episode where I talk about every mistake I've made in my business. It's not even like comprehensive, just a lot of the mistakes I've made in my business. So it'll make you feel a lot better. Andrea says, is it the 4 tendencies quiz? That is correct. And her book is great as well. Let's Go course says, just joined your 40-day course training and how to write a book in 40 days. I'm so excited. Your energy is contagious. Yay! I am like a contagious disease. Okay. Any chance that you could show us your spectacular backdrop? Sure. I bought it from Anyvoo, and it's an American company, and it's sort of like fabric on a big strand. Anyway, I designed it all in Procreate on my iPad, and then they printed up really big, and I really like it. Meredith says, it's great to spend time with you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person at Tash Corbin's Heart-Centered Conference. I'm flying in from the US. That is so exciting, Meredith. That'll be so great. For anyone who's not coming, in Noosa, I am speaking at Tash's Heart-Centered Business Conference here in Noosa in Australia. Absolutely beautiful. I agreed, well, one, I actually bought tickets to it before I even became a speaker, because I want to go to conferences and I want to meet more beautiful people and learn things. But I've gone to conferences before, cough, cough, Gary Vaynerchuk, Get Fucked, and Success Resources. Also, you can get fucked too. And they were shit. They were so shit because they were complete pitch fests. There was no content, no value, no connection. And it was all just like straight white dudes, just so many dicks. And so now I'm very careful about what I put myself in. And Tash's conferences are women focused, and they're inclusive, and they are a non-pitch event. They are there for value and connection. So I'm really excited to be talking about that, and also really excited to be just causing absolute mayhem there. Tash told me yesterday, Denise Duffield Thomas has said, can you not put me on Leonie's table because I'll get in so much trouble. I already said to Tash, put me in the back, babes, because I'm naughty. I'm so naughty. Oh, Amelia says, I don't know why my name's not showing up. It's Amelia from Sunny Daisy Tie-Dye. Oh, babes, okay, I love you. Oh, okay. Right, okay. I know about that life-threatening, that full-on chronic illness. Okay. What have I got to say about this? Okay, so I know that you've got a local business. Yeah, it's going to be a real like looking at, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? And what support do I need in order for this business to work really well without me? You know, that's the big thing. Bahia says, do you know your human design doesn't matter to you? I have got it done. No, it doesn't matter to me. I don't know what it is, clearly. Okay, Bethany says, how do you manage a business with the inconsistent productivity phrases that comes with being neurodiverse when everything seems to demand regular consistency? My days aren't going to be consistent, but somewhere in the month I will be. So I just try and batch as much content as possible and pre-schedule things for the times where I'm just going to be laying in bed. Okay. I am going to head off now. And it was a real joy to be with you all today. Thank you for joining me on this reckless adventure. Thank you for going, yeah, I'll make sure Leonie's got people to talk to instead of talking to herself on the StreamYard. Thank you for bearing with me while we got all the tech stuff sorted out. I love you all. I'm so proud of you all for all the things that you do in life and in the world. And this recording will stay up if you want to share it along with anybody who needs to hear it, or if you want to rewatch it yourself. But I'm cheering you on. Thank you for being you. Bye. Susie says, I love that tombstone, stealing that. Get it. I want all of us to be a little too much. Okay. Teresa,